This is a dream come true because Connor has been grinding on these guys. That was put poorly, but we're going to look at their hendekagons.
You are just a full-fledged pervert lately.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's right. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. We are here. Ahmed Fareed, Chris Sims, perverts, draft. That's all we're doing today. That's what we are doing. We got more gong talk, that's for sure. Ahmed can't wait to bring that up. And, I've been grinding on these guys all weekend, too. So, as usual, we're starting off in it's not R-rated, maybe PG-13. PG-13 podcast right now. What we got going with Chris Sims Unbuttoned, but I hope everybody's good. Monday, April 14th. Good to have you. What's up, my man? How are you?
See you. And it came out so easy, and I was so happy in saying it. And then Connor looked at me like I had 7 heads, and it was like, I can't believe you just said that. I would expect that from Chris, but
we're grinding on players. We're looking at their gongs, and then we're talking about how big their legs and butts are. Like we're really off the rails here. We're ushering in a new age here at NBC Sports.
But they say you got to be different somehow, and I guess that's how we're different.
We're carving out a niche here, man. We got our own lane.
Not the niche we ever wanted, but we've carved it out.
The Football Pervert Podcast by Chris Sims and Ahmed Fareed.
Fill a niche, and we filled that. We filled that niche for sure. So we're going to continue to do that. We're going to say things that we're going to regret immediately, and then Pete will pull them out for the open the next time. We're talking about DBs.
Yeah.
Corners, safeties, nickels, hybrids. I mean, this one, Pete was with us for a half hour before this podcast.
Right.
We're trying to sort this whole thing
Exactly
out.
Right. It's not easy. It's not. It's a different position than the old days, right? When we grew up, where it was like, hey, strong safety, and you're a free safety, and there's 2 outside corners, and we got 3 linebackers and 4 down linemen, and that's it. Let's call it a day, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's become so nuanced because it's a passing league, because there's so many different freaks of nature catching the ball, shapes, sizes, tight ends, receivers, jitterbug slot guys. It's become more nuanced in trying to match up with these teams. Certain teams want to play zones with long guys that don't play man ever. Other teams want to play man-to-man with guys that can fly and do that type of stuff, right? Some teams are looking for a little bit of a team or a secondary that can be a mixture of that. But yes, it's hard. And that's where we went through 30 minutes here of talking about exactly how we want to categorize some of these people. I mean, really, in the broader picture of this, there's only a few real safeties, what we think of in the whole draft. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is kind of a corner, nickel, safety hybrid type of football player, like your guy Brian Branch with the Detroit Lions,
I'm
right?
glad you brought him up because let's bring up a few players in the NFL right now who it's hard to define what position they play.
He would be one of them right off the bat, where you just go, I don't know what position he plays. It depends on who they're playing, what the situation is, what the down and distance is. We're playing a big run team. Okay, yeah, he's in there as a traditional safety. All of a sudden it's 3 wide receivers. Oh, he might be a nickel, depending who's the third receiver. Oh, if it's a bigger third receiver, okay, maybe we'll put him there. Maybe now, it's a smaller jitterbug third receiver. We don't want him there. Let's bring in a smaller jitterbug type of guy and move him back to safety again, right? So it can go like that. Hey, we need someone to stop the run here on 1st and 10. We need somebody who can be good in the pass game, but a willing secondary guy that'll get up there if they run on the outside edge. Brian Branch, here you go. You're perfect for that, right?
Yeah.
So that would be a guy that Devin Witherspoon, our man up in Seattle. Now, he's a little rare or different because he can play outside too, but he's a guy that's a nickel, hits like a safety, so they can use him outside, inside. They can kind of move him around.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean from last year. We didn't know where to put him, right? I didn't love him at corner. We made him the number 1 safety. What is it? I don't know. He's an awesome secondary football player, and I think that's what we got. So today here, we're going to have guys that I always like, the island corners. I got him. What's the call on defense, coach? You got him. Okay, I like those kind of guys. I love that kind of guy. The Deion Sanders, right? The man-to-man, I'm going to shut down the best receiver on the other team or the second best receiver on the other team, and then you guys do whatever you want with the rest of the secondary. So we're going to have that. Yep. But then we have a whole group of guys that you would just go, they're awesome secondary players. I don't know exactly how they're going to be used in the NFL. It's going to depend on the team. They might dabble at outside corner a little, but I don't think that's their ideal spot. I think they're going to be a nickel, strong safety, a dime linebacker, whatever. And that's kind of what we got to sort through here as we go through it because, it's a position that's definitely changed a lot in our last 15 years of our life.
And you add on that other layer of complexity of then where do you take this person? How do you value him in a draft compared to everyone else?
Exactly.
Right? So
right.
we'll try to sort through all of that.
Well,
in
yeah,
the
we
7-hour podcast.
7-hour podcast.
Do.
400 secondary players we're about to break down. But you know what I mean here. I mean, again, the Island guys are your Patrick Surtains, your Derek Stingley, your McDuffie, right, for the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys where you can go, if he's got to cover the best receiver on the other team 25 times, 30 times today, man-to-man, we're okay with that. We think he can handle that.
Or he takes out the number 2, and then you figure out a way to stop the number 1.
Or you double the number 1.
Yeah.
Exactly right. But that kind of guy, in theory, is what we're talking about here. And we'll hit on some of that, and then we'll hit on some of these guys that are really like Swiss Army knives in the back end that can do a lot of different stuff.
So some of those guys, the safeties, maybe slash nickels, will play our before or after game, where we'll show where they're projected to go right now in the draft, and you will say if you would take them before that or after that. But let's just start with corners, and we ultimately figured out that we're just going to rank them just like we always do.
Did,
right?
Yeah,
we
weren't
what
sure
do we
what
do
we're
here?
gonna do here?
We're going
Right.
to make you do what we always
Right.
do. But this was more difficult because, again, these guys have different skill sets, and how do you value them, and who do you put number 1? But you ended up with this, and so let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Your top 5 corners in this 2025 draft class. There's some huge names, a lot of debate
There's going to
with
be
some
some
of these
names
guys.
here that I'm not going to have on that I know these guys are going in the first round, but they're not going to be on my list because when I favor the corner that can be on the outside and that can go, oh, he can cover Jamar Chase a few times, like 30 times a game. This guy can cover Malik Neighbors and do that. This guy can cover Justin Jefferson, right? So, yeah, I favor that guy.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave some really good, awesome players off the list that I want to make sure that everybody listens here throughout the pod. After we get done with the top 5, we're going to talk about other guys that I go, damn, I know this guy's going in the first round. I just don't value him quite the same way as the guy that can shut somebody down on the outside.
What percentage of coaches, GMs think like you?
I
would
think-
take that guy over a more versatile or different type of
It's
secondary guy.
It's going to be like a team like Kansas City, right? The teams that really play man-to-man, right? Let's say them compared to a team like Buffalo. Buffalo's going to hey, we like the Swiss Army knife, the Teron Johnson. He can do a safety. He can play nickel. He does all these things. He's really smart. He drops into zones well, right? He helps out in the run game. He's a great tackler in the wide receiver screen passing
We'll
game.
pass on the island corner. We'll wait, and we'll take some of these guys
Exactly.
later on.
Yes,
that'll
exactly
fit in.
right.
Yeah.
But Kansas City's going, no. We want you to take A.J. Brown and you to take Devontae Smith, and that's when we had L'Jarius Sneed and McDuffie, and that's when we could win that Super Bowl because we had those type of things, right? So it's dependent on scheme, and your teams that play more of a man-to-man brand of style of football, they're the ones that are going to value it more than maybe, let's say, a team like the Los Angeles Rams, where they play a lot of zone. They're going to do chaotic things up front, and they're going to have smart guys in the secondary for the most part who can kind of read plays. They're good players. They're good at everything, but they might not necessarily be like stand-up, man-to-man, top-tier corners that way, if that makes sense.
So with that said, let's kick it off with tier number 1 for Chris Sims. This is your top 5.
This is
so
my
you can
top
start it
5.
however you want to.
Yep.
Tier number 1, you have named Island Corner Supreme. Your number 1 corner in the 2025 draft class is
Will Johnson, Michigan. He's the man. This is the prototype. Will Johnson's the prototype of what you want at the position, right? Has the look. He's got great size, 6'2", 195, right? Great looking legs. Has everything you want out of a big time corner. Then the next thing you know, when you watch a guy like this, especially the bigger corners, one of the first things you kind of look at is like, all right, hey, bigger corners, they sometimes can take a step or two to accelerate. They sometimes can't stop on a dime, stop on a dime, do stuff like that. Not with Will Johnson. This is where he's rare. And this is why, to me, there's no question the top corner in the draft here. I mean, one, you get to see him against high-level competition. I know he got hurt this year, but all you got to do is go back to the year before when they won the national championship and they played ballers everywhere. And he was still arguably in the conversation for the best corner in football if he came out in last year's draft with Quinton Mitchell and Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
He would have been in that conversation, right? But the first thing you notice is the acceleration. And the acceleration out of backpedal, out of transition, stuff like that. That, to me, was rare. The ability to drive downhill and break on a football on a dime was elite. So that's the first thing you notice when you really break him down. And he tackles. As for being a bigger guy, and I know he's not a killer. I'm not sitting here trying to say he's running a lot, but he tackles. He's certainly willing to do that. It's not always perfect, but again, these are one of those things where I just want to see will and want to a little bit, and the NFL environment will make it raise up a little bit when it gets into that. Twitchy, accelerates big time. If he gets beat, he can run you down and make up ground that way. His speed, top end speed, is what I also questioned a little bit just on TV scouting last year. I had no problem with it. I wasn't sure. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think he's a 4.32 type of guy. I think he's probably like 4.38, maybe 4.4 flat.
So we're waiting for that 40
I know.
time.
We haven't seen it yet.
Did not participate in Pro Day due to a hamstring injury. He is doing a private workout for teams today, so we might get that time. But yeah, that is one of the questions. How fast is he?
I watched him right next to like a Travis Hunter and some other top guys that we're going to talk about. And one of the things I wrote is his speed's really good. It's better than Travis Hunter, right? I wrote it's not as good as Maxwell Hairston, who we're going to talk about here in a little while from Kentucky, but his size and acceleration continue to be the most special attributes. And that's where I wrote it's 4.39, 4.41-ish type of speed. His feet are phenomenal, especially, again, for somebody his size, right? He's got great hips to turn and run, whether it's just a go route or a great, like, hey, I'm outside leverage. The guy kind of runs a post route, and now I'm running to the post, and I'm over the top of him, and now he breaks out. And I got to flip around now and break out that way and either flip like underneath this way or totally flip around and go the other way. He is really good at all that and doesn't lose much speed when he makes that happen. He's got incredible hips that way. And we talked about the feet. But then I think when you throw on top of all of those physical skills, we're talking about a smart player here. Read and recognition skills are top notch. That's what allows him to jump routes and zone and do things like that. And I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
I just want to show the video while you're talking about it because he had 9 interceptions in 32 career games at Michigan, a school record, 3 career pick sixes. I think we have video of one of those pick sixes to illustrate the point that you were making of he's got a knack for where that ball is going to end up.
He's really a smart guy. And he's playing cover 2 here. This is USC. I want to say it's like the third quarter. This is the first game of the year. That's all. Like, he knows the formation. He's seen it on film going, this is how they throw their little wide receiver screens. I'm going to take a chance here and go get it. The other one before against USC, and hopefully we can let it loop back a little bit, he's playing cover 2. He had already seen the slot out route get completed a few times on him. So he's like, I'm not going to let that happen again. See that right there? So he kind of backed up with a little bit with the outside receiver. He jammed him. The guy went outside, and then he makes the break on the ball. And then this one is just, you can see clear anticipation of what is coming. And then I think you add top of, again, you could see the speed when he really opens up in the USC game, whatever. But the other part of it is the ball skills are elite, as you just see there too. The hands, right? If the ball gets around his hands, he's going to catch it. He's really good at batting the ball down. He's really good at locating the ball in general down the field. You can see, even sometimes he might miss the ball. Somebody might make a catch, but it's not like he's like just looking at the receiver or doesn't see where the ball is. He is around it a lot. He's really impressive. This is not a tough evaluation for this guy at all. Size, speed, intelligence, tackles, going to have the strength to bump and run with the bigger receivers in football and not get knocked off of his platform that way. He's got the type of talent to be a top island corner in the NFL, right? I wish he played more bump and run at Michigan because they played a lot of quarters. They weren't good on offense. So they played bend, don't break. Hopefully we can cause a turnover with all these awesome guys we have. Make you drive 10 plays, and maybe one of our superstars will make a play, right? That's kind of what they played. A little different than the year before, where they knew they had an offense so they could be a little bit more aggressive on defense and take chances. They knew this past year they had to win games 17-10, 14-10, 20-17. They knew they couldn't get in shootouts with team because of their offense was an issue, right? So that helped them. But either way, I know he can play man-to-man. He's a baller, and I think he goes somewhere in the top 15 picks.
When you guys did the interview with him, what he said to you was, quote, a lot of respect to Travis Hunter. He won the Heisman. He did a lot of great things. But I know I'm the best corner in this draft, so I'm just going to wait till I get on the field and let the talking happen then. And so you agree with him. Now, he did also tell you his biggest improvement area, the need to improve, was tackling. He needed to tackle a little bit better. Daniel Jeremiah said about him, quote, he was not ultra aggressive to attack ball carriers, and he was run over multiple times. And so what do you think about him as a run stopper tackler?
It's there. And these guys are going to get run over at times, especially when it comes to the running back. Here's the thing. The running back tackling can get better. Running back on the edge, doing stuff like that. I have no problem. The first thing I'm going to look at is he is aggressive and does he make the tackles on the wide receivers? Because that's the most important thing. We're not drafting Will Johnson to go, I hope he can guard the D gap when it's 3rd and 2 and they run it out there. If you're drafting him for that, then you're an idiot team and you shouldn't draft him, okay? So, that's the thing. When I see receivers, screen game, wide receiver screen game, all that's good. Are there some toss runs with the running backs where you can watch any DB for the most part, and they're going to miss a few where they come in hot or, I just happened to over pursue and I had to try to tackle with my arm because they didn't really want to square him up and have that huge collision, right? Is there some of that? Sure. But I don't think this is a wimp by any stretch of the imagination. He's a special player, and I really think if he doesn't have the injury, I think we're talking like for sure top 12 pick here, like top 11, top 12 type of pick in the NFL draft.
That was the thing with him. In 2023, missed 3 games with a knee and lower leg injuries. Last year, missed a game with a shoulder injury and then 6 games with a turf toe. So dinged up a little bit, but it's the whole injury prone or these freak things.
Yep.
And he's a bigger guy, and so you figure hopefully he can be durable in the NFL. And he is your number 1 corner in the class of 2025, and the only one in tier number 1.
Only one in tier number 1. He's the only one that I clearly have no questions about as an outside guy. There's nothing to worry about. You've seen it all. So, yes, that's why I put him there. There's going to be some other island guys that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. It's not coming up next, that I'm super, super excited for. But they don't have the size, or they have a few other things that just concern me a hair, that I go, okay, I'm not going to put them in Will Johnson category, but I really, really love some of their potential. You know that.
Before we get to them, we're going to open and close tier number 2, which you have named Honey Buffalo.
Well, you named it. Let's be serious. We were thinking Honey Badger in honor of, this is a guy, again, this is not going to be an island corner. We're going to talk about a guy here who's an awesome secondary football player. I don't want him on the outside versus Jamar Chase. He won't be able to run with them, or Malik Neighbors, or that type of player. But can he play a little outside corner? Sure. But ideally, he's going to be amazing in zones and nickel tackling. If the ball's near him, he's going to intercept it. He's got great feel for the game. So this guy's a little different than what I usually like as far as my top corners, But this was a tough year, and it's a conundrum because this damn player is just too freaking good to leave off the list, even though he's not my cup of tea with corner always.
So your number 2 corner, your Honey Buffalo, is
the guy from the Buffaloes, Travis Hunter, right? It's not Honey Badger, so we named him Honey Buffalo. Okay, yeah, you get it? All right, that was Ahmed. He was very cute and creative there. It was very good.
It was a team effort. No.
But, okay, so let's start off with this. Awesome. I mean, you heard me say, we've been saying, this is an amazing football player. There's a reason that he's not going past number 3 in the NFL draft. There's a reason. But we can clearly state here, as a DB, he is definitely not as good as he is as a receiver. Right? I love Travis Hunter, the DB. But I think if I was just going to evaluate him as a DB, he would be later on in the first round. Right? That's where I would look at it. Like 20 to 35. And it'd be for somebody who's looking to look for a guy who can do a lot of things in the secondary. He's not the guy that you're going to say, like I said, go match up with the wide receiver, a Tyreek Hill, or somebody that has 3 rockets up their ass, and we think you can man him up and do it that way. He doesn't have the long speed to do that.
He's not like some guys are saying would be a top 5 pick as a receiver or a top 5 pick as a
There's no way. I don't think so. I don't see that at all. I don't. Now, again, I like a lot. You know that. But, like, his explosion, his twitchiness and all that, it's really good, but he doesn't accelerate like some of the top guys. He can't turn and run and find another gear on a go route like some of the other top guys that we already talked about in the Will Johnson, or that we'll talk about more here in a minute, right? He's definitely not as fast or twitchy as some of the other guys we're going to mention here in a minute. He's got incredible instincts. I mean, this is where his receiver ability, I did an interview with him last week. He's the kid that grew up with the ball in his hand all the time. His feel for the game is what makes him really special, right? So not only does he tackle, if you want to put him at nickel, right, he's going to make all the big tackles when the running back is off the edge, wide receiver screens, wide receivers or tight ends over the middle of the field. He's fearless. He's going to lower his shoulder, and he's going to bring it. That's what I love about him there. But then also has just the ability and movement in those short areas in a zone or even as a nickel cover guy to be able to put his foot in the ground, change direction. We know his hips are phenomenal just from what we talked about in the route running at receiver. So he's got all of that. He can stick his foot in the ground and plant and cut on a dime. All of that is incredible, right? He when he turns and runs, he's smooth as hell. Everything about him is smooth. But I'm not wowed when he does it by like, oh my gosh, look at him take off, right? Or oh my gosh, the ball's in the air. He's about to hit another gear here and go get that. No. In fact, you'll see him get beat over the top where you go, no, there's the receiver hit another gear, and he doesn't have that gear, and he gets lucky whether sometimes it gets complete or the ball gets overthrown or whatever else, right? So that's where I don't like him on the outside. But he is like your zone interception, fumble forcing, Brian Branches type of guy, right? Who can do all those type of things, but I'd say he's got even better ball skills than a Brian Branch, but maybe doesn't tackle quite as kamikaze aggressive. He's still a really good tackler, and that's where you're going to want him. You're just going to want him in the secondary, but like I said, you're not going to want him outside man-to-man locking up the best receivers in football. He's not made to do that. He's not that type of an explosive acceleration type of athlete.
And I think it's important to, the ball skills, obviously it's going to be one of the best you've ever seen because
it
as a
is.
wide receiver,
Exactly
he had
right.
great ball skills. Take a step back and how amazing this is, too, because it's not like, where would Rome Odunze rank as a top corner in the class, or Malik Neighbors, or Marvin Harrison Jr.?
It's
like
crazy that we're talking about
the fact that he is doing this.
He's number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
Just says enough right there. I'm not the one to kind of play these kind of games and go, oh, I'm just going to like because everybody else likes them. You know me.
Yeah.
But it's hard to deny the player here. That's what it is. It's not necessarily all the other stuff. It's like you said, the ball skills are insane. They're insane. The ball gets near him, he's intercepting it. Like a Will Johnson, he's got incredible instincts and ability because of his wide receiver background, too, to go, oh, wait, I see this route. And usually when I see this route, this is the other route that comes behind it or whatever else. So he's got great feel that way, right? To read the quarterback's eyes or see a route and go, wait, I'm in zone. I'm going to let that one go because I know they're trying to move me because somebody else is coming behind me. I'm going to be here to pick it off or whatever. That's where he's really, really special. He can jam you at the line of scrimmage. He's pretty good in that department, right? But here's the other thing that I don't like. He is grabby down the field, and that's another reason I don't like him on the outside. If you really watch him and you start to watch games, you start to realize, like, damn, Travis Hunter gets away with holding or DPI a few times every game.
Lack of speed?
Just a little bit of that lack of speed. Again, it's just a little bit of he's so smooth and all that, but, like, absolute twitchy explosion, that's not what he is. He's twitchy explosion, and I wish everybody could watch me because I know some of our listeners are just like, just all over the place, like can move in short areas, and it's like, damn, is he moving or just twitching? What the hell is that, right? He's got more of a, like we talked about at receiver, he can kind of just move all at one pace and just stick his foot in the ground and make a break and do all that so easily. So he's good in that department, but not necessarily like ideal outside cover corner that way.
We have some video of him playing corner at Colorado. So there he is mugging for the camera. So he can do that.
Right.
He can be a superstar.
See,
in the league for that.
This is where he's great. This is where he's great. That's why you want him. Look, he was playing cover 2. He sees the screen. He comes up and gets it. That's why I like him as a nickel. Or if you're a really zone team and you want him to play outside and zone all the time, sure. But, hey, that play, great play. He's got great ball skills. We know all that. We do. See, and he's a master there. You see the left hand, it hooks around the backside there. Yeah. He's very slick, right? But he does some of that a little too much. And, as I tried to say, like, I like everything about him except that top end and acceleration. Right, that's really the only thing you have to worry about. And I really think as a DB, he's the best as a nickel because of the way he tackles. He's got great feel for the game. He knows he's not 4.2 or 4.3 fast. He knows it. All you got to do is watch him play DB. He's aware that receivers might run by him. He doesn't give them a lot of opportunities to really do that. He's going to play off. He's going to turn and run pretty quick, right? He's phenomenal in zone. I don't think he will be phenomenal outside island cornerback in the NFL. He holds a lot, right? I like some other corners better on the outside, but there is no denying that this is a phenomenal secondary football player.
So it looks like he is going to go number 2 overall, most likely to the Browns. He's minus 330 according to DraftKings to do that. And so he's, 6 foot, 188. The press man stuff he's not great at because he's not that big or strong.
Yeah,
or
and he plays stronger than you think.
Okay.
For that wiry frame. But what I just don't love is press, boom, the guy gets by him a little bit. He doesn't have makeup speed that way.
Sure.
Or, hey, press, I'm running with him. It's good. Now the ball's in the air. And like I said, guys hit another gear. That's not exactly what he is. And he's not breakdown, being a split squat, twitchy, change direction guy. Like I said, he's more, I'm here, I stick my foot in the ground, and I go do that, and I can kind of do that seamlessly. And, that's a little different than when you see from a lot of corners.
So what's fascinating is what his role will be in the NFL. If you were the GM, if you were the coach, you would make him a receiver. And is it worth, from what you saw, putting him on the field for a few plays at corner?
Yeah. I would yes, if you could find third down packages where you'd go, hey, we want you to be a ball hawking free safety or even just a nickel, I'd be all in favor of that, right? I wouldn't want him out there all the time. I want him to make his money at receiver. That's what he's going to be best at. DB, he can be really good at, but I think his most value to a football team will be at receiver. And then, third downs. Hey, we want you to play nickel zone and drop into a cover 3 or just play free safety and read the quarterback's eyes and use those great instincts and feel you have to make a play on the ball and go intercept it for us, right? I mean, that's kind of where I envision him. So we'll see where this goes, but he's a hell of a football player.
And there's some people that see it the other way. We got an anonymous AFC executive out there. Here's a quote from him. You don't play a full game at receiver and then part-time at cornerback. He's a lot more valuable, at least according to this person, as a cornerback who plays 8 to 10 snaps a game at receiver. So really, I mean, you don't agree with that.
I don't know.
But there are some people who obviously feel that way. And the hard part is going to be, if he is so valuable, say he is a receiver, if he's so valuable as a receiver to your team and means so much to your offense, is it even worth the risk to put him out there for 8 to 10 plays? Or vice versa. If he really is so valuable to your team as a corner, is it even worth it to put him out there for 5 to 10 plays?
You just want to make sure he gets really comfortable at one first. I think that's the biggest thing to me. And, I don't see it the way that AFC executive explained it.
Yeah.
To me, when you start to go, oh, wait, he had 90 catches for 1,200 yards, I'd go, nah, those 3 interceptions and those few DB, no, they weren't as valuable as he's a go-to target for your offense in a passing league in the NFL right now.
And you can control that, right?
And exactly. And here would be, I love my context clues. You know that? Here would be my context clues. They base the offense around Travis Hunter. On defense, they kind of hit him at corner. He never really matched up against the other team's top guys. They played Arizona. He just happened to not play a ton of secondary in that game when Teteria McMillan was over there. Never matched up with him there. They were picky and choosy with how they used him at corner. They protected him a little bit. So that, to me in itself, tells me that they didn't think he was like island shut down this guy every game, no matter who it is. He's just a really damn good football player, and that's why we're calling him the Honey Buffalo, because the Honey Badger was like this too. Yeah, he could play some corner. I know Tyrann Mathieu could have played corner, but we all were saying, no, you want him as a nickel, safety, hybrid. Just let him be a player, a ball hawk, do all that type of stuff, and I think that's what this kid is.
It's going to be one of the stories of the NFL season, right? Whichever team takes him, most likely the Browns here. How do they use him? How often do they use him? Does he stay healthy, which hopefully he does if he's playing all that much. But you have him as your number 2 corner in this class, which is pretty good for the number 1 wide receiver. Safe to say, I don't think that will ever happen again. Will you ever have your number 2 corner also be the number 1 wide receiver?
I don't envision it happening. It's crazy. I mean, it was crazy when Charles Woodson and Champ Bailey did it, and it wasn't even quite to this extent. This is unreal. Maybe it starts a trend, though. As we know, like Mahomes throwing sidearm. Now every kid in the freaking world, everywhere, throw sidearm no matter where it is.
Yeah.
Does this start a trend with some of these kids coming up the ranks where they want to do both?
You know, I kind of thought that would happen with Shohei Ohtani in baseball.
Right.
You see him do it, you're like, wow, I didn't even know this was possible. It's like that guy that ran the 4-minute mile. Remember that story? And everyone's like, once he did it, everyone started doing it. I thought that would happen with Shohei. We haven't seen it that
Not
much
yet.
in
Not
baseball,
yet.
so who knows?
I'm trying to get my son to do it.
I know. I agree. I think more people probably could do that. All right, we got to take a break.
All
When we
right.
come back, we're going to close Honey Buffalo. We're only got one Buffalo in the Honey
one
Buffalo.
Honey Buffalo,
So
right.
we'll close here, and then we will reopen at the other side of the break with your Tier 3 corners.
Straight rockets up, you know what, coming here.
Got some butts.
Yep.
We'll talk some butts coming
Yep.
up next.
You got your own pod at overtime. You gonna continue to try to steal my job as you go forward here? And
Yeah,
be
definitely
a media
will.
presence.
Yeah, I definitely will. You know, a lot of people like me doing this, so I get them what they like to see.
You definitely gonna steal my job? Is what you're talking
I
about?
will.
What do you mean? We got room. We can hire for 8.
When I first
I don't
was
want them stealing my job. I
in
like
middle
them at
school,
all.
in middle school, I thought this was gonna be my dream.
Dang. So he's not fulfilling his dream by going to the NFL and being a dual threat player.
You're in deep shit. He's coming here to take your job, man.
Yeah, he doesn't have a broadcast journalism degree, though. Come on, NBC. We can't hire that. Yeah, he will. Matter of fact, he was just like, yeah, I am. Most definitely will take your job.
He didn't even want to
Crack
play. He was like, yep, I'm going to take your job, actually.
Yeah, you go, wait, do you realize what you just said?
That's why I made him the number 2 corner, right? He was number 1 until that comment, okay?
Yeah. He goes, you realize what you just said? And he goes, I
Right.
definitely realize what I just said.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard it or not. So he was your number 2 corner. Now we move into Tier 3 for 3, 4, 5. All these guys in the same tier. It is man-up corners. So these are the corners that you prefer. They play the style that you like. You think they can play outside, all these guys?
Oh, these guys
potentially?
are, to me, are island corners. The guy
Island
we're going
corners.
to talk about right here can maybe play nickel too, and I think some people are putting him there.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Your number 3 corner is?
Maxwell, Hairston, Kentucky. But I think ultimately this is an outside corner. I mean, these are the kind of guys I love. You know that. I love this guy. This is the kind of guy that just, I got you. Good luck getting open. I don't care how fast you are. I'm faster. You won't run by me. You might catch a short pass. I'm going to run you down instantly and tackle you. No problem, right? He pops off the screen that way. In fact, he doesn't even have to move before you realize he looks fast. He's one of those guys where I always do the same thing. I kind of look at them in their uniform. I write my first few lines. I kind of describe the player. He's one where I looked at and I just went, I don't know. He looks fast to me. Just the way he looks. There's just a certain look there. He's got good muscle texture. He's got a wiry, ripped muscle, right? Definitely, it's him or the guy we're about to talk to next as the fastest, most explosive cornerbacks in this draft. You talk about a guy who can run and turn and run or run down anybody. Turn on the Texas film. Watch him with Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond. He runs them down like they're not. Matthew Golden ran 4.29. He runs Matthew Golden down like he ran 4.09, and Matthew Golden ran 4.29. He has speed that jumps off the screen to you, right? His speed in every area is elite. It's in every area. Acceleration, out of transition, turning his hips, going that way. I think his closing speed when the ball is in the air and he's beat down the field, I think is the best of anybody in this draft. When the ball was up in the air and he was, oh shit, I'm beat, right? And he had to turn it on and try to catch up to the guy. He catches up to the guy almost every single time. That, to me, is what you got to have to be that elite island type of corner, right? You're going to cover Malik Neighbors, who runs 4.4 flat and can accelerate right away. Well, then you better be faster than him and be able to accelerate the same type of way if you want to be on an island against that type of guy.
Yeah.
And that's where I would be very, very comfortable with him at doing that.
Interesting story. Out of Michigan, West Bloomfield, Detroit area, 3-star recruit, got out of Michigan State, was not a Michigan recruit. I don't know if they didn't recruit
What
him
was
or
going
not.
on? How could that happen?
I don't know what happened, but then he goes and has a great career at Kentucky, goes to the Combine, and when he entered the Combine, he was about late round 2, early round 3 projection. He goes to the Combine and lights it up. He was the fastest corner, 4.28 40-yard dash. We do have his nonagon, so he did all the testing because he knew he would crush it. 99th percentile on the 40, 88th percentile on the broad jump. You see vertical jump there as well. Per the RAS, that relative athletic score,
Yeah.
he was 103rd out of the 2,700 corners they've had since 1987. So athletically,
Yeah.
he was amazing. A little smaller,
That's-
lighter.
that's
So
the thing.
That would be the concern.
That's right.
Do you think so? you like speed
Yes.
from your corners,
Right.
maybe even more than most evaluators.
I would
would you agree with that?
I would say so.
But you think it's
I think, well,
most
I feel
crucial.
like I'm a guy that likes, and you hear us say this, we say this all the time during the season, man-to-man. You got to be able to play some man-to-man in the NFL. If you want to win the Super Bowl, do some of that stuff. You can't just drop back and play zone all game long unless you just have this incredible front four, which we see every now and then. But for the most part, no. You got to have some guys that can shut, like, the quarterbacks are too good. The receivers are too good to just think, oh, we're going to play zone, and then add in that there's more schemes and ways to throw and formations than ever before. Like, these zones get split apart so easily. So you got to be able to play man-to-man in some big moments right now.
It's a chess piece that every team needs to have.
Yes. And there's some teams that I wish did it more, right? But yes, I think it's crucial to have that. What's been a problem we've had with Buffalo every year? They can't play man-to-man in a big moment against any big teams, right? They can't do it. That's why everybody against Baltimore was open the whole game. They went up and down the field. They just got lucky Baltimore screwed it up and made mistakes, right? But you see, you're not going to beat some of these teams like that. And that's why you see a guy like down even in Houston, D'Amico Ryan. Oh, I played the Seattle 3 scheme. He started to go, screw that. I'm getting some corners. I can't play zone Seattle scheme all the time. I learned that playing Mahomes in the first Super Bowl. We got to play some man-to-man. And so that's why I do value that. And again, I don't need to have it all game long, but even for the zone teams, it's like there's going to be 6 or 7 snaps during the game where you got to play man. You got to stop them right here. And that's where I do value it maybe a little more than most. I do, Ahmed.
Physicality for him, too, tackling, the run game, anything.
Exactly. And where it becomes more paramount, too, is the running quarterback, the read options, all of that. It's hard to outnumber offenses in the box right now. So the best way to do that is go, you play man and you play man, and now we can use 9 guys to figure out how to stop Jalen Hurts, the run, the pulling guards, the read option, the quarterback design run, and do that type of stuff, right? Those are the problems. So that's why also I look at it, and I think you're seeing it. I mean, a lot of the top teams in football, your Lions have switched to a man-to-man football team because of those problems, right? You look at Washington last year in the NFC Championship game. Damn, they play man-to-man almost every freaking play of the game. The Kansas City Chiefs, of course, are famous for playing man. And when they had L'Jarius Sneed and McDuffie, they were awesome. And they won 2 Super Bowls in a row because of that tandem right there, right? Buffalo is a team we talk about every year that can't do it. Baltimore is a team every year we're kind of like, I don't know if they're good enough man-to-man. It's kind of an issue, right? So that's where I like it. But I'll keep going on him. Just real quick, okay?
It's your show.
You're my buddy, so I just want to make sure you're okay, That he has another gear that most don't. Like I talked about, like with Travis Hunter, with the ball in the air deep down the field. His feet in and out of transition are insane. Like, they're insane good. Whether it's back pedal and I just got to come forward, or I've gotten my hips turned because, oh, no, I think the guy's about to run, and then he puts the brakes on, and now I got to put the brakes on too. I mean, there's no wasted steps. He is an island man-to-man type guy with great hips to turn around, has incredible ball skills. Another guy that he gets his hands on it, he's going to intercept it. Let alone amount of high-level plays where I go, that was an incredible, you caught up to the play and got your hand in and broke up the pass. Like where it wasn't a bad pass, it wasn't a bad route the guy ran, and you still got back there to make the play and make sure it wasn't a completion. He's got a lot of that. Can run with elite wide receivers, no problem. I wrote, he runs down Matthew Golden like it's nothing. He plays with attitude. He tackles, especially wide receivers. He tackles them because he's pissed when they catch the ball on him. And another one that I go, I wish he just played more bump man-to-man. Played a lot of quarters there, which ends up being like off man-to-man. But his ability to break on the ball is the best in the draft. He's right there with Will Johnson. Wow. The kid is a baller. He's not scared of anyone. He's got incredible makeup speed. And I wrote 20 to 35 when I was done doing it. I might be a little higher than most, but I really like this guy.
Well, it sounds like you're not, right? He's kind of crept up there early second round, maybe even late first round. And so the only concern with him is the size.
The size, right? If he's an inch bigger, he's like, there's no doubt I think he goes in the first round. Or maybe 10 pounds heavier.
Yep.
I think that's what people are going to be worried about.
You lose some of the speed, and so that's the conversation.
That's going to be it. But he can play nickel, and I think he's a willing tackler to be a kamikaze, kind of coming off the edge that way too, right? Again, just like some of these other guys. There's a few running back tackles where it's like, oh, I just didn't square him up. I missed him, right? That's with all of them.
Yeah.
But when the receiver catches it, there's no lack of physicality. He's pissed, and he throws him to the ground in a hurry.
And sometimes that's smart, right? You don't want your 5'11", 180 guy taking on Derrick Henry every time.
Exactly. I'm not trying to get
out there. Stay healthy.
I don't want Pat Surtain's shoulder hitting Derrick Henry's knee a whole lot. You know what I mean? And separating his shoulder. We need Pat Surtain covering guys down the field.
So you got a fast corner as your number 3 corner. You have a fast corner as your number 4 who broke the Iowa Class 4A state 400-meter record back in his high school days, which was a while ago. He turned 24 in January. So an older prospect for Chris as he flips through the paper, still old school as always. Your number 4 corner in the 2025 draft class is
Darien Porter, Iowa State. And maybe my favorite guy in the whole draft.
Whoa.
I mean, really. He's definitely one of my man crushes.
You just gushed about Hairston. And
I love Hairston. I know.
I like Porter even better.
I've never seen a corner this big move the way that Porter moves in any facet.
6'3", 195.
6'3", 195, 4'3", flat, 40. All, I'm saying this too, all transfers to the film. He plays like he runs 4'3", flat. 149, 10? 149 at 6'3"? That's insane. That's elite level anything for your acceleration. Here's another one that's out of this world insane. 6'7", 3-cone drill? That tells you his hips, his change of direction are that of a top-tier receiver in the NFL. I mean, slot receivers. Not even that is big time. And then a 4.04 short shuttle, the 20-yard shuttle, the 5.10.5. I mean, again, a big guy that can change directions and explode out and do all that. He's the longest, tallest cornerback you're going to see, right, in this draft, but has a good body. It's not like, oh, man, he's really skinny or he's got stick legs. It's like, oh, no, his thighs are okay. He's got a little butt to him. There's a little structure in his arms. It's not just like some painfully skinny long corner, at least in my eyes, right? And then I mean, I'm a few plays in and I wrote, I mean, wow, I'm only a few plays in, but, I'm shocked. This kid is a freak. I'm going to read it word for word. No joke. He has it all. He is a freak. His numbers are real in every way. And then I wrote, I got to see hips. And then I go, his hips are really good. His ability in and out of transition, again, when wide receivers break down, make a cut, he can stop on a dime. I've never seen anybody actually in and out of transition of his size be as good at it as he is. And I'm telling you about Tariq Woolen, who's a freak of nature up in Seattle. And I will couple that with Sauce Gardner, who was the number, 4 pick in the draft a few years ago? 3 pick, for the New York Jets. That's what I see when I watch this guy. His speed is easy. And like Maxwell Hairston, he has another gear when the ball's in the air. He can turn it on to where you go, whoa, okay. That guy had him beat off the line of scrimmage. He turned and ran him down, and he got an interception, or he knocked the ball down. His change of direction, right, which is what I look at is you're breaking down to tackle and do that. Can he the guy faked me this way, and then can you readjust the hips and kind of readjust and make the tackle as he fakes you out? He's really good at all of that stuff. Incredible. The ball skills, because of his wide receiver background that I didn't learn about until halfway through last week, they're really good, right? So, he sees the ball. He's got good hands, and he's got good hands to even knock it down when he's in that type of position. I don't know what happened here. This kid, I'm shocked I don't hear more about him, and I'm shocked that he only played corner 1 year at Iowa State, and that's where I'll let you fill in some gaps here.
Yeah, it is a strange story. So he's projected round 3 right now, and who knows, maybe that's just because he has been non-existent in college. 6 seasons, though, at Iowa State, school record 64 games played. He's a special teams guy. He was
Which I love.
Dominant on special teams, and that's what he was.
He tackks. I know.
So he was a wide receiver for 3 years, but Pete, this is right, just 1 catch for no yards in those 3 years. So basically, he was the guy that locked it down on special teams for them until he got his chance. He had 5 block kicks as well, so he really was that.
Yep.
First-time starter in 2024, got his chance at corner, and then did what he did on tape.
He, like, one of my lines I read is like, I mean, the only thing you question is his story. Like, there's nothing to question on the film. There's nothing you look at and go, now I see why I was now I like. You can't look at it. The way he looks, I'd go, well, he's been starting 3 years, and he's just an amazing All-American corner, isn't he? I mean, if you didn't tell me, I would go, yeah, that's what he is. You know, and I don't read history of stuff like that when I first start. I just look at the player, the specimen, and watch and go. And then I start to go, halfway through the film, I start to go, holy crap, this kid's good. Why have I not heard about him? Then I start looking up history, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, like what's going on here? But there's nothing you can look at physically. The hips, the turn and then run, they're as good as anybody. I mean, his turn and run is right up there with Will Johnson and Maxwell Hairston, like we've talked about already, in a high regard. He's on an island as much as anybody. So I watched the film. I watch a bunch of clips. I watch point of attack. I watch one game, right? I'm going, this kid's unreal. Am I missing something? I went back and watched 3 more full games because I was like, maybe the clips, some of the ones I saw, maybe he got burned in those games and like the ball just didn't happen to go his way, right? And he just got lucky, a little bit like we talked about with Travis Hunter a minute ago. I go back and watch the game. I go, nope, that was 40 plays of coverage, squeaky clean, like perfect every play. So it's like you can't find anything. The only thing that's going to hurt this kid is his story. Nobody really wanted to test him a whole lot on the outside. They didn't test him a whole lot. He's got good quicks, like I said. I mean, it's hard to find a flaw. I wrote, he's really a first-round talent. He's a first-round pick. He's definitely one of the best corners in the draft, right? In a draft where there's not a lot of freaks, he's one of them. And I wrote 20 to 32. I wrote his talent is really top 15 in the draft. And then I wrote he has better physical skills. I'm going to say this out loud. His skills, to me, are more impressive than Sauce Gardner when he came out. Because Sauce is 6'3" or 6'4", long corner.
Yeah.
I like this kid's hips, this kid's speed, everything about it more. He doesn't know how to play maybe quite as well as Sauce Gardner does yet.
Well, how would he?
Right? But he can really, like, the skills and what's there to be molded is very special.
So you have just set yourself up for an all-time internet situation.
I know I have.
By saying that out loud.
Yep.
But you obviously you feel passionately. Have you been able to figure out? I know you've talked to the guy, your friends about it. And just,
he's one that I haven't
him?
had deep conversation about yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping this will be the jump off here.
Yeah.
I've had a few friends that I have texted to be like, this dude's unreal, right? Like, I love him. But I haven't gotten into a back and forth type of conversation yet to know the overall feel. I hope I can give that to you on Wednesday a little bit. Because I really don't. I don't know how the league, I don't know how any of my buddies. I talked to a bunch of buddies last week about Shedeur Sanders and where he could land. And I talked about that in depth on PFT today to start the show there. So if anybody wants to listen to that, they can. So I was kind of caught up in those kind of conversations and some other things this week. But no, I haven't got a chance to really dive in on him with other guys yet.
Because all your buddies are like, dude.
Shut up.
Cool.
Don't tell.
Trying to get in round 3.
Here's another context clue. I send those type of texts out. When I don't get a response sometimes, I do feel like sometimes specifically to that it is specifically avoided.
Yeah.
And sometimes when that happens with other guys, I have to go back to it and go, hey, wait, you didn't answer this person, right? You slyly went on to the next topic without, and I haven't called anybody out there yet on that, but I'm going to here.
So you're in love. I'm in love with this guy, but he is still number 4 for you, and I'm guessing that is just because of the mystery around him a little bit.
That's all it is. It is. Like, I was like sitting here when we talked about ranking, I was like, man, for a love affair, he's like top 2. I love this kind of guy. But yes, I mean, one season at the position, the history, that scares me a little bit. And I know he's not going in the first round. I know that. But I think with this type of talent, I will not be shocked if he goes in the mid-second and comes out of nowhere, like at pick 45 or something like that.
Oh, no.
That would not surprise me.
You've really set yourself up.
I know.
If he does not become Sauce Gardner now it's a problem.
I'm gonna put myself out there. I am. That's what I do, and I'm not gonna back down from it.
You've never been afraid to do that. So
No.
your number 4 is this is. I feel like this is your number 1 man crush in the draft right now.
I think so right now.
Of all the positions, I'm trying to think
so.
back. You love Cam Ward, right?
Yeah,
You like him.
I love Cam Ward.
You like Ashton Genty, but maybe not even as much as other people.
Yeah, I had a few receivers I got a little man crush on, but I think you would be right. I think this would be in the leader house is the Chris Sims number 1 man crush, and oddly enough, I mean Maxwell Hairston might be number 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we might get into actually the number 3 one later on here when we get to some other hybrid guys in the secondary that I would tell you I also have man crushes on in a big way.
All right, good tease, but we got to close off your top 5. Your number 5 corner is another, I believe, physical freak here. Turned 24 years old last Tuesday, so another older prospect.
Yep.
He is
Shavon Revel. Shavon Revel.
Revel.
It's Revel?
I think it's Revel.
Let me start it again. Shavon Revel.
I think it might be Savone.
East Carolina.
It might be Savone. Is it Savone?
Take 4. Here we go. Shavon Revel,
Yeah,
East Carolina.
there we go,
Boom.
yeah.
There we go. Everybody, you got to work with me. Hey, these guys are working to become better NFL players. I'm working how to talk about them in the NFL.
Hey, we didn't see a whole lot of East Carolina football this
No,
past
we
year,
didn't.
but you saw a lot of film of him
Yes,
in
we
the
did.
last couple days.
He, like a Will Johnson, kind of a prototype type of look, right? 6'2", 194, kind of exactly what you look for at the corner position, right? Long legs, big square shoulders, right? Not crazy skinny or anything like that. He got a lot of his weight in his legs and his butt, which I like. His size and ability and the ability to jam a wide receiver at the line of scrimmage, I think was the first thing that jumped out to me, where I just went, oh, damn. I mean, he's just all over these guys at the line of scrimmage. He's a phenomenal at squeezing them off into the sideline and not giving them any room and using the sideline as like an extra defender, right? He's got very good quicks at the line of scrimmage to adjust and mirror to the receiver who's trying to shake him out and do all that stuff. He shows twitchiness, all that. His speed is really good, I wrote, but this is why he's 5. I don't think it's in the class of some of the top guys we've talked about. Now, we don't know. He had the torn ACL, and he hasn't run the 40 time. And again, this isn't like I'm worried about his speed. I wouldn't be making him an island corner if he wasn't, but I don't think this is 4.3 flat or 4.28 like Maxwell Hairston. To me, this would be more of like he might be 4.4 flat, 4.39, somewhere in that department, right? Which is fine, and especially with his size. The other thing, out of the top guys, I thought maybe he was a little bit of the stiffest of the group, but again, not bad. I'm just comparing to the other top guys and why he's 5, right? There is a little bit of a tightness in his hips to where I go, the other guys can kind of just flip them and seamlessly turn and really not lose any speed. At times I felt like if he had to flip his hips, it was a little bit like flip, slow down, and now gear up to go fast again a little bit, right? Just not quite as good in that department. I thought he lost speed compared to the other guys. I talked about the physicality. He competes. He tackles. He's really strong down the field in those bump situations when the ball's in the air and does all that stuff, right? He transition. Again, I would say like out of the back pedal, or I'm turning to run the go route and the guy runs the out route. All of a sudden, I got to there's a few extra steps there, but it's not bad. Again, it's really good. I'm just comparing it to the top guys that we've already talked about, right? The ball skills are real good as well, but again, I would say a tick less than what we've seen from the other guys that we've talked about so far. I mean, hey, the other guys we've talked about so far, I think have really special ball skills. Like, it's rare to have that kind of speed and explosion and have the ball skills that they have. The other thing I will question here, is out of the people we're talking about so far, he played the least competition.
Yeah. So he's got 5 years in college.
Yes.
2 years at Lewisburg College. I don't know what conference they play in. 3 years at East Carolina. He was a 3-star recruit. So, and he's been hurt a little bit too. So
Yes,
you haven't had a ton of tape on him. So those are all things that would give you pause. But he's still, despite that, projected late round 1, early round 2 pick just on the physicals and the athletic ability.
The way he runs when you're that size and you can run like that, and the way you can cut and break and do all of that, yes. I'm sure there's going to be teams that are going to go, I like him better than Maxwell at Hairston, right? Just because they're going to like that extra 2 or 3 inches and a little bit more meat on his bones for the guys like a T. Higgins or a Mike Evans down the field, and you feel like, oh, they won't get bossed around by those guys in a 50-50 ball situation, right? Or a back shoulder and just get nudged out of the way by an elbow. Like, you're going to have to really push off this guy. So I can totally understand that. The dude is awesome, so I don't want that to be mistaken here. And he's definitely, one of my top 5 corners. And I wrote 25 to 45. But the injuries, the competition scares me a little bit, because here's where in corner too, it is different a little. It's corner, right? I mean, I got to see the other guys against some guys where I go, well, that guy ran 4.4 at the combine, or this guy runs 4.39, right? I'm seeing it. He's playing some guys in some of that conference and some of the teams they're playing where I go, yeah, it's easy to play really aggressive at the line of scrimmage and be crazy aggressive when the guy runs 4.6 that you're covering, right? There's a difference there. And I think you got to take that into account a little bit to go, if he was having to cover some of the guys that Maxwell Hairston was, I don't know if he would be quite looking the same or quite as aggressive in some of these things he does, because he'd go, man, if I miss this crazy aggressive jam, like Azareye'h Bond is running by me for an 80-yard touchdown, I can't do that, right? So that does, scare me. He never faced anyone, I thought, who really scared him. And I'm big into that, because you want to see how a DB reacts when they go, oh, shit, this guy he can kind of beat me over the top. I got to change how I play a little bit there. And that would be my negatives on him. But still, specimen, awesome football player, and would not be shocked if he went at the end of the first round.
So despite that, you still felt highly enough of him, because there's going to be guys we're going to talk about in your honorable mentions and guys that missed the cut that played at Florida State, Notre Dame, Texas,
I know.
Ole Miss.
I know.
And so
because this guy's
that,
an outside shutdown island corner. A lot of the other guys we're going to talk about are really good players, but they're just really good secondary players that I wouldn't trust on an island against the NFL elite 1 or 2 receivers on a team, right? That's these other guys we're going to talk about and we go, I want them in my secondary. I do. But I just don't want them outside guarding Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, those type of guys. I'd rather them guard the number 3 or play zones, or they're just good football players. So that's why I make them number 5.
Let's get to those guys.
Yeah,
but first, let's recap your top 5, because we are now done with it. Tier 1, you got your Island Corner Supreme, Will Johnson, University of Michigan. Tier number 2, Honey Buffalo, Travis Hunter. We liked a lot as a receiver. Not quite as much as a corner, but still your number 2 in the class. And then
I'm so mean to him to make him the number 2 corner.
Maxwell Hairston, your man crush, and Darien Porter, and then Shavon Revel as your number 5 guy. All right, let's do the honorable mentions now, because there's a guy who's projected top 20. For some people, he's the number 2 corner. Maybe number 1 to some people out there. I don't know everyone and all their evaluations. Your guy from Texas, Jahdae Barron.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, but not in your top 5.
This is what's tough, right? He's awesome. So I don't want that to be disregarded here in this situation. Yeah. But he's just not a guy that you're going to trust. He can't play outside corner in the NFL. He cannot do that. He doesn't play 4.39 fast on the film. Not at all when you see that. Right? He'd be a guy that, if you gave me the technical scouting terms and all that, I'd go, he's more quick than fast. He's more twitchy than fast. He's great at flipping his hips in short areas, and he can accelerate. That's one of the things he's really good at. He's a willing tackler. But, no, he'd be a guy here, again, where I look at it more of hey, I'm comfortable with him against some jitterbug slot receivers and man-to-man and stuff like that. But the guys who can really fly and go on the outside, I wouldn't want them in those situations. They didn't really trust him in those situations if you really watch the games. They don't let him sit there and go man-to-man against the dudes from Ohio State and the freak number 4, Smith, right? Some of those guys. So they weren't trusting that either. He's more along the lines of the Travis Hunter, in that he just knows how to play. There's not really a weakness in his game. He's got great feel for what an offense is trying to do. I think he could play safety. I think he could play nickel. He can just be a really awesome secondary piece. but he's not the guy that you're just going to line up on the outside, like I said, and shut that guy down all day long.
So why a lot of people have him rated highly, perhaps, or just know of him, is because he was very good at Texas. He was a first-team All-American, won the Jim Thorpe Award as the nation's top DB, had 5 interceptions. Lance Zierlein says about that, though, he is a big nickelback, was in the right place at the right time throughout his impressive 2024 season.
That's right.
Now, what do you think about this? Daniel Jeremiah said about this. He goes, I'm higher on Barron than just about every team I've talked to. This is what I've said to teams. I'm like, look, you blew it on Branch. You let Branch fall to the second round. The league collectively blew it on Cooper DeJean. Let him fall to the second round. Is it going to happen again?
It's valid questions. Valid questions. You know, the Cooper DeJean one was tough, right? Because I don't think anybody was quite sure how they were going to use him or what they were going to use him. Brian Branch we knew he couldn't be on the outside, but he would be kind of what he is. He could be this Swiss Army knife. He could do everything. And Brian Branch, even though Barron's really good at this, Brian Branch's like short area of movement and his ability in and out of transition and to match people that way on short, intricate routes was like elite. It was just like if he was on the outside and he had to turn and run with a really fast guy, that's not what he was. This guy's kind of that way too. But let me just say this too. I don't know, and this is a guy that has come up in some of my conversations and talk. Everybody likes him. Everybody likes the player. Everybody likes the smarts. Everybody likes the person, all of that. I haven't talked to a lot of people who were like, wow, I love the actual specimen either, right? But he's going to go in the first round. He's one of the safest picks in the draft. And to me, here's another thing I write about. You know, he's a nickel safety hybrid, as you heard me say. I don't think he can play outside corner in the NFL. He doesn't trust his speed versus college receivers, so he's not going to trust it in the NFL. He's very smart. You see the read and recognition. The route recognition of the pass game's phenomenal. Same with the run game. He comes up, makes tackles really well. Change of direction is good. Break down and tackle somebody in space is really good. Hips are tight when he has to turn and flip them and and turn on the afterburners that way. And then I wrote, I think he's more Rondé Barber, right? He's more Kenny Moore of the Indianapolis Colts. Mm-hmm. Maybe Teron Johnson is another name I wrote, right? Where it's like, I want him on my team. He's awesome. And I want to use him in a lot of ways in the secondary. I just don't want him man-to-man against the top receivers in football.
He's in your honorable mention, but you are lower on him than others out there. Also in your honorable mention, who you are higher on than I think others out there, from Kansas State, Jacob Parrish, projected round 3 pick right now in mock drafts. He's also a high school track star. I'm sensing a theme here. He won the 100-meter and 200-meter state titles back in Kansas. 5'10", 191, so another one of these corners that's a little undersized but has elite athletic traits.
Elite athletic traits, also like elite explosion and the ability to tackle people, right? So this is another guy where I'd go, yeah, he could play some outside corner. He can do that. I don't think that's where he's going to be best at. I think he's going to be best as a nickel, or even a safety that's a little bit undersized but kind of is a heat-seeking missile that way, right? You know, his speed and acceleration are as advertised. He ran 4.35. It's 1.51. All of that is really good, right? He's as close to as being as explosive and as fast as some of the top guys we talk about, like Johnson and Hairston and all that, but not quite there, right? His acceleration out of the back pedal or like a split stance, right, where he's just sitting there reading something and they go, is elite. I mean, he can get the top speed in a hurry. And then he can tackle and throw his body around. He's not perfect that way. He can come in a little kamikaze at times, but I saw enough where he lowered his shoulder and put it right into people's chest over and over. But this is his problem, and where I put him in this, like the hips are just okay. That's something where he's not great when receivers run intricate routes that maybe you run in and then you break out and do stuff like that. You know, he's really a heat-seeking missile at safety is what I wrote as we went along. He's going to have no issue with straight-line speed guys. That's not going to be the problem. It's going to be the guys who can run really intricate routes and change directions. That's not going to be his department, right? He hits. He, no question, one of the most explosive guys in the draft. All of that, all of it is really good. Again, but I just think he's a secondary piece, not your outside guy.
Got it. You like him maybe a little bit better than round 3, though.
I do.
Round 3
I
mocks.
do.
You think he's better
I
than
wrote
that?
50 to 70.
Okay.
Right. So that's end of the second, into the third. But again, when you're 191 and you run 4.35 and you have a 151, that's going to get people's attention. There's not a lot of guys like that in the draft.
So those are your 2 honorable mentions. I
Right.
want to talk about some guys that people are going to be like, well, what about this guy is ranked pretty high by other people.
Sure.
How come you don't have him ranked high as well? And one of them is the corner from Ole Miss.
I knew it.
Trey Amos. He's a projected late first round, early second round pick right now.
To me, this is where guys fall in love with the size and the measurables a little bit. And it's not that the movement's bad. It's just not enough for me. Zone teams are going to like him more than I will, right? Teams that go the Seattle press bails, or we just want the longer guy who's got some smarts and athletic ability. And we know when we play our zones, those holes in the zone are going to close quick with guys like this, right? But, yeah, that to me was the biggest thing, right? I wish he had another gear. That was the biggest thing. He's got length. He's got smarts, right? He's got decent hips that make him good in zone. But his acceleration, as in the 40, the 1.6, that shows. 1.6 is not very elite for a corner. That would scare me. And again, that would tell you that he's not going to be able to accelerate or run with some of the other freaky receivers in the NFL. He's patient at the line of scrimmage. He's very smooth athlete. He's got great hips to turn and run, right? He can do all of that and redirect. It's all smooth. That's all good. But the speed is just not wow. I would have guessed probably a little slower than 4.43. All right. His long speed is better than his acceleration. He plays the ball really well. He's really good in zones. He's smart, instinctive, blah, blah, blah. But, yes, that's just not my cup of tea to be top 5 corner on the outside.
NFL.com saying he can get a little lost at the top of the route and needs occasional safety nets over the top.
That's what I'm talking about. Those are the things we're talking about, right? It's not total confidence in the speed. Mm-hmm. It's getting lost at the top of the route because he can't quite explode out of those scenarios to now gain ground with a receiver who maybe broke down at 10 yards and made the right-hand turn, right?
There's a guy for Notre Dame, too, who was the team captain last year, 3 years at Notre Dame, was a 4-star recruit, was often talked about as the guy out there at defensive back, was projected round 1 in January. Steadily has dropped, though, now projected round 2 pick. That's Benjamin Morrison for Notre Dame.
Technically sound. Again, guys, a great look. The size, the smarts are all there. It's going to be the same type of talk we kind of just had, though. I just don't know if the physical specimen is worthy for me to be taken in the first 2 rounds. He'd be a guy that I would think of the 3rd round. But again, I think those teams that appreciate a bigger zone type of corner, they're going to like him. Again, he's a lot like the guy we just talked about. It's loose. It's smooth. It looks really good. He's technically sound at the line of scrimmage. I mean, he does all that. But, right, he's got great hips, great feet, all of tackles a little bit, but his top end speed and overall explosiveness is holding him back. His speed and acceleration are not that of the top guys, and I think that's why you've kind of seeing him fall, is because the more you watch, the more you realize that he could play some man to man, but he's not going to make a living doing that in the NFL.
One more guy out of Florida State, Azareye'h Thomas. He's projected round 2 right now in drafts. He's one of the younger prospects out there, so if you like a prospect who has a room to grow, or at least is young, turns 21 in July, 4-star recruit. He's got some size, but I don't know if he has the speed.
That's it. It's plain and simple. I mean, it's underwhelming 40 time at his pro day, right? I mean, he plays like he runs 4.6-ish. He's got a great looking body. He's another one like a Will Johnson. It's like a prototype. You love everything about it, right? So that's all good. But the next thing that jumps out other than his body is going, damn, he lacks twitch. He lacks explosiveness. I wrote, I was probably 15, 16 corners in, and I wrote, this is the slowest corner I have watched yet.
Well,
so
he did not run. He did not run at the combine or his pro day.
And when that's the question about you, and you still don't do it, that to me is scary. Right? I wouldn't be shocked if he ran 4.7 from what I see on the film. But yes, there's room to grow there. And I will be shocked if he goes in the 2nd round. I don't think so. I don't mean to be a jerk here, but Yeah, I don't think he would be in my top 10 corners in the draft. I don't think so. I'm not sure he'd be in my top 12, 13, 14, really.
But you're rooting for him.
Of course
and
I
hopefully
am.
he's a good guy.
And hopefully he proves me wrong.
Okay. All right. So there it is. There's some of the names you don't have ranked. I like that. There are other guys out there, like safeties and maybe nickel guys. And for that, we're going to play before or after.
Okay, I like that.
So it's a little game we like to play here on Chris Sims Unbuttoned. And we'll do that when we come back. We are back on Chris Sims Unbuttoned, and now it is time for safeties. Or are they nickels? Or are they something else?
Well, I think most of them are really, again, I would say versatile Swiss Army knives.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about two guys. There's only two guys that I look at that we're going to talk about, and it's a limited few where I would just go, they're truly safeties from what we grew up in and how we think of it, and that's Xavier Watts and Nick Emmanwori from South Carolina. Those, to me, are about as true of a safety you're going to get. Everybody else we're talking about here is going to be, that safety nickel hybrid type of guy. And that's what we'll get into right now.
So I like this game. This is before or after. So what we do is we take a lot of these guys who are listed as safeties, at least in the draft, the combine rankings or whatever they are, and we say, would you take them before or after that? Or do you think teams will take them before or after that? So it can be a little combo platter there. Let's start with the guy who's going first off the board at the safety position for most people. That is Malaki Starks from Georgia, projected late first-round pick in mock drafts. DraftKings set his line at 23.5, and so end of the first round. He is a five-star recruit, 3 years at Georgia, led the defense in snaps played as a true freshman, so he has been on the radar for a long, long time. What do we think about Malaki Starks?
Well, I know why people like him, and I like him too. He's another guy that I would go, I'm not wowed by all the physical ability all the time, but he's a damn good football player that I would want starting on my defense. That's for sure. He's not your traditional thumper safety type of guy. This is a nickel slash nickel slash free safety type of guy. I think that's ultimately where you'd want him. And even within nickel, I think I would want him more in. I want him nickel because we think they're going to run. He's going to help in the run game. He's going to play physical. I mean, he's from Georgia. There's no hesitation in his tackling, his physicality. That's what you like right away, right? He's twitchy. He accelerates, right? And then he's very good at knowing what's being done on the offensive side of the ball and having a good feel for that. He's just a good football player, right? But on run downs, I'd want him to play nickel. Pass downs, I'd want him at free safety, right? He tackles well. He's not a killer. I wouldn't want to take him in the first round. That's what I wrote. He's a safe pick, and because it's Georgia, he's a little overrated. But he's a great, smart, charismatic kid, and he's a really good football player, just not an elite special athlete. And, hey, because of that, he could get – we talked about this the last pod. There's going to be a few guys where I don't know if their physical ability says first round, but it's all their other characteristic traits and what they can bring to the culture of the team and all of that certain teams are going to love. And that's where Malaki Starks will certainly thrive.
Daniel Jeremiah pointed that out. He said sources at Georgia speak very highly of his character. His intelligence, leadership ability have blown NFL teams away in meetings. Now, it's like you're like, oh, okay, what do you read into that? But, I mean, seems an outlier. They really do seem to like what Malaki Starks brings.
He, and I think Pete could attest to this, was hands down one of the most impressive guys at the Combine. You knew he had it, right? A lot like Jahdae Barron at Texas. Special way to communicate, look you in the eyes, funny, can expand on answers, know they understand the game. Those are the guys you want quarterback in your defense too, right? They got a little bit of that trait, and I think he'll be good at that.
So Chris Sims would say no.
I would say no.
Late round one. What do you think? What do you think will happen in reality? Do you think he will be?
I think he's going to be a fringe guy. I think
round?
In my reality, I think he will end up being in the second round.
Okay.
I do, and that's not even just. I really kind of feel that. Right? I mean, would I be shocked if he went off the board late in the first? No. But I think when it's all said and done, he will go in the second round somewhere.
All right, your other guy that you mentioned there
Yeah.
as a safety, your first of two, right? You got
Right.
Watts and Emmanwori. So this
The
is Nick
true safety
Emmanwori,
type,
South
right.
Carolina, projected late round 1 in mock drafts. In fact, average of 23rd on the big boards right now. He's a younger prospect. He is one that spent 3 years at South Carolina and then went to the combine and destroyed it. So we have a decagon of him. Maybe we can show that while you talk about him because he was amazing
He
in
was
all
one
of the testing drills.
He was one of the specimens of the combine.
Who is this guy at 6'3", 220?
And made a name for himself to where he was shot right up into the first round conversation, it felt like, when that happened.
Yep.
And when you look at the size and you go, wait, 6'3", 220, 4'3", 149, 10, again, that's like freaky elite good. You go, whoa, okay. But what have we seen here as of late? He's not in first round mocks anymore. He's starting to go down to the second round and all that. And I think it's pretty simple to see why. He looks like a specimen. He runs like a specimen, all of that, right? But I don't look at it. I didn't look at the film at first and go, oh, I see 149, like just coming downhill like a freight train coming after running backs or anything like that. I saw good speed, don't get me wrong. I was more impressed with the fluid looseness of the athlete and ability to kind of weave through traffic or dropping back in the middle of the field and then turning and running to an area to make a break on the ball as a free safety. I liked all of that. But the problem here and why he's dropping and why, I mean, what are you asking him in the first round before or after here?
So I guess right now where we are, and he may be falling, but
Yeah.
right now he is at pick number 23.
Okay.
Or so.
Okay. I'm going to go after. I will go after with
You
that.
would take him after, and you think he actually will go
I
after.
do. I would be shocked because when they really get down to it, and you'll hear me go here, is the biggest disappointment is how bad of a tackler he is.
Oh, no.
Right.
Which is crazy because he had a team-high 85 tackles as a freshman, was an All-American that year.
He's
Just because you made the tackle doesn't mean
no, exactly
You're good
right.
at it.
Exactly right. Or yes, where were you supposed to make the tackle at is the question too, right? I see a little of that like I don't know. I won't even change the subject. Let me just stay on topic here.
Yeah.
But he's not very good in the open field, right? That's what's going to scare you there. He's not super aggressive to come down and get involved. So even though he's 220, right, I don't think he's a guy you're going to trust in the box to help out in the run game and do that type of stuff. His best stuff is him intercepting the ball, him catching the ball. He's great in the passing game, 7-on-7. I'd love to have him as a free safety and do all that. But if it came down to, he's got to get in the box and tackle Brock Bowers in the screen game or some sick receiver that way, I wouldn't trust it. Or if he's got to fill the C gap and Derrick Henry's coming through, no, I would not trust that at all. And I think that's going to be the problem with him more than anything. His best plays are all coverage plays. He's a free safety only to me. He does have pretty good hands, but he's not real instinctive in the run or the pass, right? There's too many runs where I'm like, go, get up there. Like, you see it's there, and he's kind of just sitting there waiting, right? That's what I mean by read and recognition. Yeah. Some of the other guys we've talked about, they see that, and they're like, boom, I'm there. I'm up there. I might miss the tackle, whatever, but I saw it, and I got there in a hurry, and I made him cut or move, and somebody else got the tackle, right? You just don't see some of that, and that's what I think will hurt him when all's said and done. I think it's kind of like end of the second, third round type of guy when I think it's all said and done with Emmanwori.
If you're going to bet on him, you're going to bet on the crazy athletic traits that he had because he was first out of the 2,700 corners since 87 in that relative athletic score. We saw the decagon that he did. I mean, it's
an incredible
filled
gon.
up.
It's incredible gon.
Gon is one of the best we've seen.
And his
draft.
free safety stuff and his ability to cover ground in that area, it's special that way. So if you're looking for a true free safety that can be a ball hawk and then, of course, do something with the ball after he gets it, he's scary that way. But one of my last lines I wrote is his tackling is borderline embarrassing at times, okay? And that's definitely other teams are going to see that.
Not good when he is the last line of defense in that category.
No, exactly right.
The other guy that you mentioned is more of a true safety-ish guy, Notre Dame, Xavier Watts. 6 foot, 204 out of Nebraska. He's one of the older prospects, turns 24 in November. This is a guy that every time you turned around covering a Notre Dame game, you're like, Xavier Watts has got his hands on the ball.
But that's where I look at him too and go, he's another one that I go is a free safety only, right? I don't have quite the same questions I do about him as far as Emmanwori did, is the tackling in that department, but I still think the tackling it needs work, right? That would scare me a little bit. I wouldn't want him, again, in the box going, hey, Saquon's going to come through the C gap, maybe with a pulling guard. You got to get in there and mix it up and hit him or tackle him or take on the guard. No, I don't think that's his top skill. Right, I love his body. He moves well. He's very smooth, right? And a lot like I just talked about with the other guys. He got great hips to open up, run, do all that. He does have very good feel. That's where I'd give him an advantage over Emmanwori. He's got great instincts and feel, especially in the pass game of where the ball's going, where they might attack, right? His ball skills are really, really good because of his length, right? His ability, like even in zone dropping from being in the box, he's very good there about knowing where the quarterback wants to attack. I talked about the physicality, his ability to square people up. He never really wants to do that or make a big hit. Certainly not the kind of tackler Starks was from Georgia, I wrote down. It's a borderline concern for me. The hands are awesome. He's a free safety only. As of now, I would not trust him in the box. Pass game is really good. Run game, tackling, he is less than in that department. There's some other guys I like more.
It's going to be tough to have a man crush in this safety class, or is it, as we continue to work through here? So
I got
a little
two
lower
for sure
on Xavier Watts. So projected mid-round 2 pick, you think, before or after he will go?
I'm going to go with that one. I wrote 45 to 65.
So it's close.
Because I recognize the smarts, the size, the ability to play in the pass game. So it was mid-second round, you're telling me?
Yeah.
I'll go after. I'll say it's
after.
late second round.
Okay.
I'll say late second round for Xavier Watts.
It's a projected round 3 pick for your Texas guy, Andrew Mukuba, 5'11", 186.
They're going to miss out if they wait that long. I don't know.
Career. So you're already saying before for Mukuba, who started his career at Clemson, made some plays, then I don't know what happened.
I don't know
to
either.
Texas, and then he did what he did this year. You like Mukuba.
I wrote 45 to 65.
Okay, so before.
Yep, I do. I mean, now he doesn't have the size that Emmanwori and Watts has, but he tackles like he's twice the size of them. I mean, he's kamikaze. So I like that. I mean, he hits like no one told him he's not 220 pounds. He thinks he's 220. He brings it, let alone his movement and coverage. And when he does play nickel or he has to play man-to-man from the safety position and he's 7-8 yards off covering a slot receiver, it's very impressive. It really is. I mean, it's 4.45. It's 1.43. He's a little smaller than you'd like. A 1.53 in the 10, excuse me. He's a little skinnier and smaller than your prototypical safety, but I think that's why he's the nickel hybrid type of guy, right? I mean, little narrow in his hips and all that. He's got a big, thick neck, though, right? And the thing that always jumps out about you right away is his aggressiveness. As soon as you turn on the film, you just go, whoa, 4's coming down in a hurry to make hits here, right? He hits. Zero hesitation coming down to help in the box versus the run. Got very good hips and coverage, change of direction, flips his hips and coverage. Don't think he played quite to his combine numbers of 4.45, but his acceleration and his explosiveness, they are to the combine numbers, right? So I don't think his top end speed was 4.45, but I thought his acceleration, his ability to drive on the ball and all that, I did think was 1.53-ish, which is an impressive time. Again, when he sees it, he goes. He gives zero about his body. He hits like he's 225. He's phenomenal in the open field as a tackler. His open field tackling, short area quicks are impressive, as impressive as you're going to get. He excites me more than Malaki Starks. That's what I wrote, right? The way he moves and covers, he can play nickel, right? He's got good instincts. He's a player. Good ball skills, good hands too. I didn't realize when I kept watching how many interceptions he had and how many good plays he made in the pass game, because whenever I watched him in Texas this year on TV, I just was always like, look at him tackle, look at him tackle, look at him hit, right? He just never turns anything down, right? He's got good range, good feel. He's a free safety nickel hybrid. Around the ball more than any safety I had seen yet. And we got one or two more guys we're going to talk about, but I love this kid. He should be getting more hype, 45-65.
I mean, he was a 4-year starter, 3 at Clemson, 1 at Texas, was a freshman All-American back with Clemson. He was born in Zimbabwe. Pete's put in a rundown here, immigrated to America at 9 years old, so quite a story, quite a career in college.
Really incredible.
And now you think he will go before mid third round.
I do think
size
that.
is going to concern.
I'm probably higher, I understand, than the rest. But I think he'll go off before mid-third round. I'll say that. And I don't know if it's going to be much more. I certainly could see early third being where it was. And what did I say I wrote? 45 to 65?
Yeah.
Right. So,
You're higher,
I'm a little higher on it. So, 75, I could certainly see him off the board by then.
Mid-third round pick for Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State, 6'1.5", so a little bit bigger than your guy Mukuba, 215. His father, Kevin, played football at James Madison, so he's got the lineage. Had some injuries at Penn State, didn't get to see a whole lot of tape. I know they missed him there with the Nittany Lions. What'd you see of the games he did play?
I love his body. I love that he will throw his body around and hit you, right? He's does not impress me in the pass game. He is less than in that department, right? He's honestly, the way he runs and the way his legs are so gangly, it concerned me anyways. And then he got hurt.
Yep.
And I was like, damn. I mean, his legs, he's knock-kneed. I mean, he's really knock-kneed when you look at it. It's very odd to see that from a safety, where like the knees come in and almost touch, and then the bottom part of the feet kind of flare out. And when you see him run and stuff, his legs, it's not like a straight gait. They kind of flare out to the side and are all over the place, right? But that's what scares me, is it's anything in coverage was not good. He's pretty good coming downhill, right? He's okay. He can accelerate in that department when it comes to like just, hey, I'm here. Now I got to come down. I see the run game. Boom. But anything in the pass game, you get him a little off balance. Oh, I got to change the direction. Ooh, he made me, I start and then stop and now I got to restart. Those are things I did not love at all, right? So I think he's being a little overhyped because of the size and the look of the player. Again, I got no problem. He's going to be, I thought, kind of more of the end of the third round is kind of what I looked at it. I wrote 80 to 100. That's kind of where I saw it being. And, of course, the injury won't help him a whole lot either.
So just 3 games last year, had the knee injury. An AFC national scout said this about him, quote, I don't love the instincts, but I do love the size and athletic talent. He needs more work. He's a day-do pick all day. So,
Yeah, I don't love the instincts either. And I don't want him at free safety.
Yeah.
He's not rangy enough. He's a guy that you want as the strong safety because he will go down and fill the hole to take on Derrick Henry and do that type of stuff. That's what he will do. I like that, right? But, yeah, some of that stuff concerns me a little bit. And he runs 4.6-ish. I don't think it's much faster than that. He had, like, no chance of covering our tight end from Bowling Green a few times one-on-one and doing stuff like that. Fannin,
it's
no chance.
Because he said to you when you interviewed him, he goes, I have no doubt in my mind that I can cover NFL tight ends. And in the slot going against Tyler Warren every day in practice prepared me for that. He got his, I got mine, but that was a pro battle every day. So he thinks he can do it.
I hope he can. Prove me wrong.
So he's a bigger safety. Here's another smaller safety, 5'10", 192 from Denton, Texas. Billy Bowman Jr. played at Oklahoma, played wide receiver and corner in high school. As a wide receiver, had 1,200 yards his senior year. So he's athletic. Originally committed to Texas, switched to Oklahoma.
Damn, bad decision, kid.
Do you hate him?
Bad decision.
Do you hate him? Or do you like him?
I love him.
Oh.
I don't like him. Here's another guy, Mukuba. Like, we've talked about my man crushes today so far.
Yep.
Right? Maxwell Hairston, right? Darien Porter, right? Mukuba from Texas. Here's my fourth one. This is my other man crush right here. I mean, smaller looking safety, right? But a heat-seeking missile, incredible body, almost perfect, muscled up, great legs, great butt, has the look of explosiveness. The first thing you notice is his supreme explosive athletic ability, right? I mean, the way he moves and runs, it's that of the top corners in the draft. He plays faster than 4.42. He ran a 1.52.10, so he can fly that way. But I think he plays faster than his top-end speed would even say at the combine. Quick twitch acceleration are elite. And I wrote not just elite for safety, elite for anyone. His hips are really good, like the top cornerbacks of the draft type of good. His ability in and out of transition is also top-notch, like some of the top corners in the draft. right? His read and react is as good as it gets. When you see run plays and stuff, he is down there so quick, it's unbelievable. Now, sometimes he's down there so quick and crazy, he might miss a tackle or two every now and then. But as I talked to you before the show, right, I'm okay with that kind of missed tackle when I saw him in the hole a bunch of times squaring people up at the goal line on 3rd and short yardage. I'm in the box on 1st and 10. The guy's running at me in the C gap. I'm going to run up and hit him for a no-yard gain, right? So there's no worry about him tackling. His tackling is just like, hey, calm down a little bit. You don't have to, just break down a few feet before you get to the guy. You don't always have to be the heat-seeking missile, right? But, the pass game, he's phenomenal, right? He can man people up. He was put in some really tough spots. I would say you're going to see some negative plays and coverage, but I would go, most safeties in college football, I didn't see get put in this spot, right? I didn't see, he's on an island sometimes where you're like, he's on an island playing safety man-to-man 12 yards off of a guy who gets to run at him full speed, and it's like, yeah, good luck covering that. Good luck. Right? So he was put in some tough spots, like my man at Iowa State and Darien Porter, who also, I want to say, was put in some really tough spots, and I should have said that. Takes on blockers, mixes it up, right? He's a missile when it comes to downhill. He can be over-aggressive and come in too hot, like I talk about. He gets off blocks. I love the kid. Wish his ball skills were a little bit better. That would be my one negative, because he's there to make the play a lot. He's not beat, but you go, damn, get a hand on it, or damn, pick it off, right? That would be the only thing you could say to me, right? But his speed and acceleration, I think, are better than his combine numbers. Everything is top-notch about this kid. And then I wrote 35 to 55.
Wow, okay.
So I know I'm higher on him than most.
So he's a projected round 4 pick, so you're higher on. Do you think he'll go earlier than that, though?
I do. I have a hard time. And is there something else I don't know about?
I think it's just, so this is what NFL.com says.
Let's hear what he
the only
says.
things keeping Bowman from a higher grade is a lack of NFL size and his inconsistencies as a tackler. And PFF noted the missed tackles as well. Missed a lot of those tackles. You said not all missed tackles are created equal.
Exactly.
Now, I would say here with him, too, he was in the 8th percentile in height, and he was in the 0th percentile in wingspan. I didn't even know 0th percentile was a thing, but Pete notes here 0th percentile in wingspan. So that is it. Is he big enough to what he does it translate? And he did play at Oklahoma, so it's not like he was playing at a small school playing. He was in the SEC this past year.
I know. I would be shocked if he's on the board still. That he's just too much of an elite, explosive athlete with too much skills and aggression in the background to be ignored. And like I said, there's, like you talked about, all tackles aren't created equal, right?
Yeah.
I have way less problems with his missed tackles than I would say an Emmanwori or a Watts or some other guys I talked about who just, it came down and I just happened to take the wrong angle or do stuff like that. No, when you really break this kid down, physicality is not his issue. It's just like, hey, calm down, break down, be a little more proper that way. I love him. I know I'm higher on him, but his talent really pops off the screen to me.
One more guy we want to throw in here. He's listed as a corner for some people, safety to others. We'll throw him in this discussion. Caleb Ransaw from Tulane. He is 5'11", 197 from Alabama, projected round 5 pick in mock draft. So we are going deep into the notebook here. I'm making you flip over many, many pages here, but he was in the discussion.
Yeah.
The homies want to know about him.
Yeah.
I will filibuster as long as I have to until you get to your
I'm
page.
there. I think I'm there.
On
Boom.
Caleb Ransaw and to go.
Well, he's another guy that I would go, he plays a lot of nickel. He's a nickel safety hybrid type of guy. Strong, muscular body, really twitchy, explosive, right? Side-to-side movements. He's good with that. Makes blockers miss, gets to the ball, aggressive. He can get off blocks, right? I wrote he's one of the more physical guys I had seen yet, and I was pretty deep into the corner group here altogether. Acceleration's off the charts good, like the top guys in the draft. I mean, he ran 4.33. It's 1.52. Right? Plays nickel all the time. He could be a safety nickel hybrid. I think that's really what he is. And then I wrote, he's got some Brian Branch in him. He's got incredible strength, right? Like a Parrish from K-State. There's some extra steps in transition. That's why you don't want him to be the outside corner. That's maybe why you don't want him to be the nickel in every situation, right? He's a little heavy-legged that way where there's some extra steps in and out of breaks and stuff and all that. He doesn't have great feet that you would expect out of some of the top corners. He's a little bit more of a straight liner. It's just like, hey, backpedal, I redirect here, I come down and I go fast really that way, right? He's not going to be like, oh, you flip me this way, now I got to flip that way, and I could turn it on just really easily and make that happen, right? He can't just open up and turn as easily as some of the top guys and what you see there. Ball skills need work. They're not as good as the top guys either, but he's one of the strongest, best tacklers yet. He's a good football player. He's like I said, a Brian Branch hybrid, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and then I wrote 50 to 70.
Tough to evaluate. 3 years at Troy, 1 at Tulane, so the competition there. Projected round 5 pick. Your final test, before or after round 5?
I'm going to say before.
Okay.
Again,
the versatility.
I think the physical specimen is just too good to be on the board too long. Teams are going to look at it and go, wait, he runs 4.33, he's got an elite acceleration, and he hits? Well, sounds good to us, right? He might, he's got some issues here and there, but we'll figure out how to play him and who to match him up with. I think there's more talent than people are giving him credit for. I think it's a pretty damn good class.
Yeah.
Right? I do.
It does sound like it. You sound like you like some guys that are lower on the list than some other people.
Exactly. I think
the guys that you don't like, still, you like them. They're serviceable players. They're just not round 1 guys for you.
Right. And then like Jahdae Barron, I really like him a lot. He's just not totally my cup of tea, and I recognize he's going to go in the first round. He's just not an outside shutdown corner or quite maybe the elite athlete that the combine numbers might lead you to believe.
I'm glad you brought that up because DraftKings has put out the odds of how many of these guys that we have talked about today, safeties and corners, will go in round number 1. So they seem to believe that the odds favor 4 guys going in round number 1. Jahdae Barron off the board. I guess that means first. And Nick Emmanwori, second. Malaki Starks, third. Maxwell Hairston, one of your crushes. Not your ultimate crush.
But one of them.
But one of your crushes.
Yep.
So what do you think? What do you make of that? That 4, it's a deep class. No. Oh, yeah. Wait, why are Will Johnson and Travis Hunter not listed? Oh, because it's so obvious. Oh, I get it. Okay, so Barron.
So who isn't on here? Who is he saying? Will Johnson and
Will Johnson is not listed here because his odds are so
great
to go. Yes, and Travis Hunter too. Yeah, so I guess Barron would be the third off the board.
Yeah, right. And
so that means that there would be 6 corners, unless you call Travis Hunter a wide receiver. He's screwing everything up with the numbers here, Bob.
Well, hey, I know we got my rankings. We know who I like, but I think when we get down to it, okay, Travis Hunter, let's say DB, going Will Johnson, definite. Jahdae Barron, definitely going in the first round. Now I think is where you get to the.
You think Emmanwori might not go in the first round?
I don't think there's any way Emmanwori will go in the first round.
Wow. So
I would be shocked.
So this is not gambling advice, but do not take that.
I would be shocked, right? Starks, I think good chance that he goes somewhere in the 20s, low 30s. So far we're saying Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, Malaki Starks.
That's 4.
And that's 4. And then that's where we're going to get into the conversation about Maxwell, Hairston, and probably Revel, right? I think those will be the guys that are like on the fringe. Does it happen? I don't know. I'm going to say it's going to be 4 and no more. In my heart of hearts, it feels like Hairston will go at the top of the second round. I feel like with the injury, right, Revel probably will too. And as you know, I like a lot of these. I know my Darien Porter is not going in the first round, even though I think he's that type of talent. I understand how it all works, right? So I'm going to say 4. I think it ends up being 4.
DraftKings Sportsbook, your home for live betting, and new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Just download the app and use the promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. That was a lot of dudes.
That was a lot of dudes.
You were grinding on a lot of dudes that whole time, and we talked about them.
Yeah.
And I like that, though, because that's a class where I didn't know how excited to be about it because I knew you were a little lower on some of the guys that other people are higher on.
Right.
But you were higher on some guys that people were lower on.
I found some gems that I really like.
There seems to be some good depth.
Yep.
There's going to be a team that's going to draft a guy in the 5th round. You're going to be like, that guy is a player.
Definitely. I mean, I think, yes. I keep saying I kind of feel like this is a draft where some of the guys that are talked as a second and third rounders excite me more than some of these first round guys.
Yeah.
And that's happened before. So we'll see what happens. But either way, it's proven to be very interesting. We got a lot of good things to hit on. I mean, damn, receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, that's a thing. How many D tackles ago? How many of these DBs ago? I think there's a lot of cool, interesting themes that we'll have fun talking about at the start of the draft in the barn coming in 10 days.
Wow.
We're getting there, everybody, all right? You know where to find us. We're going to keep breaking them down. Wednesday, we got some of the top linebackers we're going to talk about. We're going to start. We can't talk about everybody, so we're going to hit some of just the top guys and the top O-line guys, the guys that we know are here that are basically going to go in the first 2 rounds. We're going to hit on that. So subscribe, rate, review. Keep sending in your questions. Let me know what you guys think about some of these DB things. I know I'm different here. I get it. But what I see is supreme talent. I really do. I'm excited for this group all together. Have a good 2 days. You know where to find us. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Thanks for watching Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Hey, just because the season's over, it doesn't mean we're over. We ain't going anywhere. The NFL never dies.
We're staying right here. Hit subscribe. We got every NFL move. We'll react to that. Plus, Chris has got 4,719 draft prospect profiles to do.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe. You know where to find us. Peace out, homies.